The NeuroDADverse Podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Hello, welcome to the NeuroDADverse, the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the podcast for all parents, not just dads, of neurodivergent children and non-neurodivergent children, to discuss our wins and challenges of the week. Dan, hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. A little bit discombobulated this week. I think it's the last week of term for us. You on half term already?
No, last week of term at the moment.
Oh, fine. So we marry up this time.
Couple more days to go.
Cool. All right, then. We're slightly later in the week than we normally record. But anyway, let's kind of try and jump into our week in 3 words so you can get a taste of what's coming along. What did you go for this week, my friend?
So I was really trying hard to get a full rhyme game going after finding it really easy to do my first 2 words, but I haven't quite managed it. So I'm going to try and attempt how you sometimes half rhyme words that aren't really half rhyming words. So my week in 3 words is sharing, caring, and growing pains.
Nice. Cool.
What about you?
I really liked how you went growing and then threw in pains afterwards. My week in 3 words, as I read them out now, it sounds a little bit, I don't know, religious. Faith, hope, and belief. This all sounds far too serious for my week, but you know, it's been a bit more of a serious week than a fun one, but we'll get into it, I'm sure. So what we normally do in this podcast is we talk about our challenges of parenting our neurodivergent children, and then we have a little bit of break, and then we talk about our wins, and then we'll have a little bit of a look ahead to what's coming up next for us. So Danny, why don't you kick us off with what was challenging about your week this week?
So my challenge this week was Sunday, actually. So usual pod record day. And it's the growing pains reference of my 3 words.
Right.
Because I had 3 ings, but needed the pains bit because there's been a bit of growth, and that has therefore brought the pains, as it were. So we might discuss that a little bit more in the win section. But the reason that Sunday was slightly challenging, just as a day in general, was Frankie had a bit of a different a couple of days before that, and also it's the penultimate week of school, and I just feel like a lot of things were just starting to sort of like grind him down a little bit. So he was a little bit temperamental, a little bit short-tempered, and it's kind of like the bad after something good has happened, and it's just all sort of coming out in the wash, basically. So he was a bit tired, and just a bit it's not impacted at my win in terms of the win, but me and Amy went away for the day to go to a wedding down in Brighton, and Frankie had a stayover, which I'll come back to in the section. So he's now come back. He hasn't seen us for a whole day, and then he was just a little bit tired, I think, from it all, and just a bit, as I say, worn down. And my mum and dad come over to kind of come and see him because they've been seeing various family the last couple of weeks, so they haven't seen him as much. And we thought, oh, that'd been really nice to sort of get him distracted and give him something to focus on, because we were just sort of having a chilled out at home because we assumed he might be a little bit worn out emotionally from the busy couple of days. And yeah, he was just struggling a little bit. My mum and dad came over because it was sunny. He wanted to go in the garden, and as you well know, Ben, and regular listeners of the podcast, my Frankie absolutely loves his trampoline that we have in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, Nanny and Grandad would get on the trampoline and entertain the idea for a period of time before me or Amy tag in or whatever. But on this occasion, my mum had hurt her back and my dad wasn't feeling 100%, so they couldn't really bounce. And Frankie, trying to get Frankie to understand while he's a little bit cranky and short-tempered, the barrier in the communication of him trying to comprehend what we're trying to say about, they would do it, they just can't today. Yeah, and it just kind of showed a little bit. It wasn't just that as well. Like he was getting a bit like aggy around what food we'd made him. Just everything just seemed a bit of a chore, more than it had to be. We got through it, but it was just a bit. It was just a bit of a slog, really. And when you have good days, you understand why days like this sort of stand out. And it's not the worst challenge in the world. Don't get me wrong. I've had a winning week. Like I have more wins than challenges, which is great. We're on a good stint. It can all change. But yeah, it was just kind of, it didn't matter. We couldn't do right, really, and it was just a little bit sort of frustrating. And we just wanted him to we couldn't get him to bed too early because he did get quite tired, like a few hours earlier than his bedtime. I was like, he looks like he could actually just pass out, but if he passes out now, that could interrupt his sleep for the rest of the week. And we got the last week of school, so yeah, it was just one of those kind of like days. But it was nice that we were together. But yeah, it's hard to know how much he enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed having me and Amy around again after not being with us for a day, and he enjoyed having my mum and dad around. But I don't think everyone kind of had the optimal day play out in their head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair. But, and again, you're
quite rambly, but yeah.
Yeah. But then that's fine. Like, it's good in the long term. It's good because he'll want the things to happen and they haven't happened. And that's kind of how life goes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or like parts of life go. It's not every time that happens, but yeah, that's okay.
So it's just a bit of a mad day.
I appreciate that's challenging though, because what we know is you go into these things with your expectations and your expectations aren't met. Sometimes they're completely exceeded and sometimes it falls short. Yeah, it's quite a neat one just to kind of sum up what the parenting of neurodivergent children is like.
Yeah, I just felt like we could never meet his expectations. Like, although we did activities that he enjoyed, probably just didn't come off the way he had envisioned. But when you don't have language to communicate that, we're always guessing. So,
did you try your social stories to give him a binary option that wasn't trampoline that your parents could do? So sorry, that's me going, okay, if I was in that scenario with Oscar and they wanted to play with grandparents or whatever, couldn't do trampoline, I'd have been going, we didn't social story much, but I'd go and get a couple of things and be like, train or bubbles with Nanny or whatever. And that would be like a distraction technique, but
yeah, so
sometimes when they're I know Frankie rewind. Sometimes when Frankie is on that trampoline, it's just like this kid's getting off when they want, and that is fine because they're getting a lot of joy out of it. So I'm not suggesting you should have done that. I just wondered if you did, because I know the social stories you've been getting some joy with that.
So yeah, initially I was going to go, no, we didn't, because we don't have picture cards for those things.
Okay.
But what I did do was trying to entice him to come back into the living room because I got the games out that he likes to play with everyone, and we did eventually. Nice. Eventually, the transition happened, but yeah, I must admit, Frankie is. I was like, if you can't go on there, don't try and go on there, because once you get on there, you've fed that expectation level.
Yeah,
like, I do this. I do this all the time. I'm like, Frank, Daddy's just eaten, can't really bounce. I'll go on there just to be like hoping I can walk around the edge or something. Or if I sit down, he will literally just keep on he'll lift my head, he'll lift my arm, he's relentless on getting out of you what he wants. So I was like, if you're not well or you're injured, don't even get on there. So we did do sort of a hard,
exactly.
we need to do that, and eventually he did come in. But But yeah, I mean, it's that time of year now. I'm going to be bouncing. Hopefully I lose a lot of weight.
Cool. That sounds all right. That sounds like it was an easy-ish challenge. Mine's a little bit more broad in terms of my challenge. In terms of both the kids, really, I know it's not really supposed to be necessarily about us, but it has been the big thing that I could pinpoint as my challenge this week. And it's just continuing and having the faith and the belief, I guess, to continue to encourage them. And I don't know if this is just a teen thing, or I don't know if it happens, but their self-worth, both the kids, needs a lot of encouragement. Like actively they doubt themselves. I think you can understand that as growing up neurodivergent, one of them diagnosed relatively early, one of them diagnosed more recently. They've probably felt rejection in a more intense way, because as we know, they often get neurodivergent children often get judged by adults, not meaningly, but like, oh, come on, that's not how you play with your trains. Play with them on the track. Neurodivergent kid goes, I want to line them up. It's a really cheeky classic example and probably a stereotype, but I'm not too bothered. Like, it paints the picture. Like, I want to line the trains up. You're telling me I'm doing it wrong. I've had a rejection there. And there's that type of thing, right? And there's that point that sometimes when being laughed at because you've gone in and you've put, like, I don't know, a pair of tights on your head and you've come down the stairs that Mabel used to do. Like, that goes from being funny to being embarrassing. And you maybe rethink about it in that way. So they're both really, and this sounds really bad, but I found it this week that I just needed to do it on so many occasions. Like, Mabel was telling me that she doesn't, when people tell her that she's really good at something, I actively said to her, when they say that, what do you think? And her response was like, oh, they're just being nice. They don't really mean it. And so and that's tough. That's really hard to encourage. And when you just try and compliment, like, Oscar on something that they've done well and that you think they're good, they kind of shy away and put their hair over their face and stuff. So, and that just is, I think it's just hard when you're trying to encourage your child and you can see them actively not believe you. That's fine. It's not like they have to take you seriously and to believe you, but it's just, for me, it's like, okay, cool, and I'll do the same thing later on when it just feels like I'm banging my head against a brick wall a little. So it's been really tough on all kind of fronts, on school, on self-worth, on like projects they're doing at home, things that they tell you and you kind of think, oh, that's really interesting, and you've dealt with that really well. Oh, what a week that has been. But there's nothing, like, ultimately, like, it's good because over time it's far better than being judgmental and hypercritical of them. But yeah, it's just I don't think that necessarily is a neurodivergent a parent of neurodivergent children, but it just hits a little bit harder, I think, because you can see them feel it more deeply, or like more intensely, I guess.
And they have to then really want to do it even more to get over that initial sort of barrier that gets put up every time they have a. Because it's much easier to go, no, I just won't do that. So.
Absolutely. And some of it's short term. So I'm just encouraging you to do this thing. We're going to do it a bit. And then they back out of it because they think you're just not lying, but like not being genuine. And sometimes it's wider, as like, homework or picking subjects for year 10 or stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be all right. But it's a big challenge when you have a lot in a row and you can't really, they don't show you that they feel confident. But confidence is something that can be built upon. So we'll keep going, I think.
And next week's another week. Yeah.
It is indeed. And who knows what drops in the win column. We shall have to see. But more about next week later on in the pod. We should probably take a little break and come back and talk about some wins. Hey, Dan?
Absolutely. See you in a sec.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back to the NeuroDADverse, where we discuss all things neurosparkly and neurospicy about parenting our neurodivergent children. This part is where we discuss our biggest wins of the week, no matter how big or small. Should I kick off this one, Dan?
Absolutely. What was your win or wins this week?
So I had we had both the kids' parents' evenings within this week, if you also consider that we're recording slightly late. It's in the win column because I was talking before the break in quite a somber way about how difficult I've found it to continue to keep encouraging the kids when they don't seem to be receiving that well. But boy, do they have some adults in the schools that they attend who are doing that encouragement, and it seems to be working because there's some lovely stuff and there's some wonderful stuff working at both their schools who can really see them for who they are. Don't get me wrong, there are some hurdles for them to be going over and potentially through with some of the things that are put in place for them. But there are some people who highlighted some things that they think they're incredible at, and being that we've had a bit of a academic year so far for the both of them in different ways, it was just lovely to have that experience. So yeah, just nice really, because it's the kind of hopeful shot in the arm that you need. Now, do I wish that the state education system would have a slightly different way of doing things for all students that would benefit neurodivergent students? Yes, I do, but we don't have that, so we're not going to click our fingers and make one happen. So the fact that there are other adults in our children's lives that can see them, meet them where they are for their need, and see the potential and their positive traits is just lovely. So yeah, it's a nice little win there, I think.
No, it's a double win, isn't it? Because one for both. Yeah. For both. No, that's great. That's really awesome. I bet that was really nice to hear.
Yeah, I don't know how much it's like what Laura and I are bringing to it in terms of what our criteria is for a good parents' evening. But certainly what we were looking for, we could see, and like we want some people to know our kids and encourage them in their efforts. That's, and to feel good about themselves, because boy, do they struggle with that at the moment. So yeah, it was really nice to hear.
No, brilliant.
What about you?
So I have definitely had another winning week. So we've had a few in a row now. So good momentum build. So I've got a couple of wins. It's really hard to pick one because I like them all for slightly different reasons. But I won't waffle on, as sometimes I am guilty of. So my 3 words were sharing, caring, and growing pains. My first story, I wasn't here. This is a little win from Amy's point of view. On Wednesday, I was out all day in meetings. After school, Frankie was having his 2 desserts, or however many he does. And Amy gave him some sweets because someone had given him some sweets. And he was basically mullering the packet. Slang for eating them all. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word mullering. And Amy just looked over him and was like, "Oh, can Mummy have one?" Now, Frankie's kind of like Joe from Friends, doesn't really share his food. So wasn't really expecting anything. It was kind of a throwaway comment. So when he'd finished, Frankie's starting to become a little bit more helpful, in the sense that he'll put things back where he found them, or he's starting to tidy and not leaving as much as a mess. So
yeah.
he picked up
I
his
remember
bowl.
you saying.
Yeah, so he picked up his bowl, took it over to the side, and then ran into the living room. Amy was just continuing to tidy the kitchen. She went to pick up the bowl, and Frankie had left her a single Solidarity sweet in the middle of the bowl for her to have.
That is brilliant.
So, yeah. Did he not like that sweet, or did he actually listen to Mummy asking him to save a sweet and share a sweet? But in typical Frank fashion, she got one, probably from a pack of 20, 30, I don't know. But yeah, she just went, oh, that was kind of a nice moment. I'm like, that's nice. He has not yet shared food with me in that respect, so maybe that could be my win next week. Second win, we got another certificate 2 weeks in a row. We've had a certificate from school after not really having much in the certificate front. And he got his certificate for being dedicated member of the class, for always being positive and outstanding commitment to learning. I'm like, sounds like Frankie's running for school mayor, or I don't know, but I'll take it. And that's kind of the caring word. Like, he's starting to obviously take more care / pride / growth in
my creative brain is just running wild with campaigns that Frank would run on. Free cake.
Yeah, or bounce through, yes. And then the last one I kind of alluded to earlier with the challenge, because it was the day before the challenging day. So Saturday, Frankie got picked up by our good friends that we go and see and stay with, and he had an entire day and night without us, and he stayed over at their house. He gets on with everyone, loves them. They've got their dog, which is growing even bigger since he last saw him a few weeks ago. And the feedback was he just had a really lovely time. They had play dates with other children over as well, and he was finding ways to engage and play and be in the same room as, which for parents of children with neurodivergency will, sometimes the win is just getting your child being okay and being in the same room as other people or acknowledging they exist. So
absolutely,
to him, he might have met them once or twice at party environments, but that's quite a nice win that he's quite happy to share the environment, but obviously testimony that he feels really comfortable in that house to be himself and do what he's got to do. He slept really well for them. I think he slept for like 10, 11 hours. So more of that, please, Frank. But probably, it was just really, really nice. And then he came home. I think he was back by about 11 o'clock Sunday. And then that's when he probably just started to relax a little bit, and we had that tricky day. But I definitely won my week. Sounds Fantastic. Like I think you won your week as well. So yeah.
I think when we started this pod, I was like, I don't think I want to spend my weeks coming down on what side of it. I think the chronicling is the most important thing to me. But yeah, like, I wouldn't have started the week thinking that the parents' evenings were going to be the positives. And don't get me wrong, there were some difficult things to hear in those in both those parents' evenings. Really difficult things, actually. But they were the wins, because they were the things that showed me that those kids are in spaces for their education where they feel seen and they feel encouraged to go and get through stuff. And they definitely got some adults at those spaces that they kind of respect and enjoy spending time with. So that's all you can hope for, really. Cool. Well, there are some exciting things happening next week, and I know Dan's got to quickly check what he's doing next week. So we better just take a break so you can listen to the awesome theme tune, which begins with an air horn while I press this. It's Look Ahead to the Week Ahead. Right, cool. Look ahead to the week ahead. Did you have to check up, Dan? I was being mean about you there, but do you know what you're doing?
I mean, it wasn't a totally unjustified jab at my personality traits. I have got a little list of events happening this week, yes. So do you want me to go first?
Sure, go ahead.
So I feel like this is definitely a change of the calendar from last year, but we're ending this term with a 3.5 day week. I'm calling it a 4-day week, because the 4th day is sports day. But I feel like that's a whole term early. I feel like it was before summer last year. So that would be interesting. He's got a shorter week. He's got sports day. And I'm also shooting a short film on the weekend just before our pod recording. So we might be doing
Frank involved?
Frank is not involved on this occasion. Frank and Amy are having a splendid day out while fun happens.
Just for the full sentence, Frank is not involved in the short film making yet.
Yeah,
your kid's involved in your creativity. It will not ever be a bad thing. But yeah, excited.
Frank has actually made 3 films that I have kept, and maybe one day we'll share. But yeah, essentially he stole my phone when he was a toddler and walked around and kind of did his own tour of the flat we lived in at the time. So Frankie has made a couple of movies already.
Well, because we're recording slightly late, the biggest thing in our week is that on Saturday, which is the first day of half term, we are going away to a cottage in the countryside with my mother-in-law, so Laura's mum, and Laura's brother and family, and they've got 2 primary school age kids. So yeah, whole week for all the family in a little cottage in a bit of a remote area. Going to go to some landmarks. It's quite the drive.
Okay, so you're going to go and enjoy nature.
It's the start of half term. I think it's going to be warm. Not complaining. Just
long journey.
I
hot
feel
car.
like optimistically it's 8 hours.
Oh, 8 hours. You could be in Switzerland in 8 hours.
My mother-in-law's favorite place in the country to go.
Okay.
I did try to convince her that somewhere like Switzerland was nice, but no, we're just going to a place that she really enjoys, that she used to take Laura and Laura's brother when they were younger. So it's that type of vibe, and it's lovely. So it will be fine. It's just that is a lot, and there's going to have to be a lot of waiting and a lot of when then.
Lots of stops.
And a lot of probably a lot of stops, a lot of waiting, a lot of when then, a lot of kind hands. And once I've stopped talking to Laura, then we'll talk to the children. No, I mustn't be mean. We're just gonna approach it like it's an adventure, knowing that everyone will be on different timescales, and we'll just have to manage that.
Are you going in one big vehicle, or are you going in a convoy?
I have considered getting the train on my own, but now this is all horrible, rubbish jokes about my family, who are incredible humans. Yeah, we're just all going to go. We've Laura's rented a vehicle, so we're just going to throw everything in the back of one big vehicle and go.
Nice. Okay.
So
proper road trip.
It is going to be fun. Okay, thank you very much for listening and watching us. If you're particularly interested in what we're doing, we always throw bits and bobs up into the social media world. We're on TikTok and Instagram. We are the NeuroDADverse, or you can message us at the NeuroDADverse at gmail.com. We've said many things. It got a bit serious from my perspective, but also quite good and quite positive towards the end. We really thank you for the lots of you that are listening. We really enjoy doing this, which is the main thing. It really helps us, and if you listen to us helps you too, then that is fantastic. I'm going to tee Danny up to send us home in the nice, positive ways the way that he does with his 3 things to remember.
Yeah, just to follow on there, it's if our conversations and chats about our lives can help anyone, that's a win in my week for sure. So I will close the pod as always by our founding 3 ethoses behind our chronicling of our weekly parenthood adventures with: you are doing great, you are enough, and you're certainly not alone. Win the week, everyone.
Good energy.
Good energy.
That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.